Greetings once again. We're back for the third movement in Antonín Dvořák's Ninth Symphony from the New World. And actually, I will now reveal this might be my sleeper favorite of the symphony. As you might not be surprised to learn, I love all four movements, and as I just mentioned in the previous video, the second movement, the Largo, hit me very powerfully in this particular experience of it, maybe more so than ever before. And I mentioned the fourth movement is the movement I immediately think of, and it's the same for many people in terms of its popularity worldwide. And the first movement is very impactful and well balanced between the more dramatic and the more lyrical. But the third movement is excellent, and even though it's the shortest movement, it packs a lot of punch into the 6 to 7 minutes, which is the typical recording time. I think here it's literally right in the middle, it's about 6.5. But yes, this might secretly be my favorite movement in the sense that it has great flair and drama. It's got some dramatic melodic strokes, which are among the most memorable motifs in the entire symphony, and it sounds like it could be another Slavonic dance in Dvořák's suites of those dances. So yes, it's a really incredible movement. And though it might not be the one that people talk about most immediately, it is one that has long been as enjoyable for me as any of the others, maybe even more so. So yes, let's give it a listen. The movement in terms of the musical direction is a scherzo and then molto vivace, meaning it is playful, it is spirited, and very vivacious, very spirited and energetic. So let's give it a listen. This is Dvořák's Ninth Symphony from the New World, the third movement, Scherzo molto vivace, as performed by the London Symphony Orchestra and conducted by István Kertész. Though, as I keep saying, I doubt I'm pronouncing the conductor's name, or at least surname, correctly. But away we go with the third movement of Dvořák's Ninth Symphony. Incredible, right? Again, I hear the scherzo, I hear the playfulness, especially in those lighter sections, which have a frolicking type of nature. But of course, I also hear the molto vivace, the incredible passion and vitality and energy. So, yes, it's another well balanced movement. As I said, it's the shortest of the four, but there's a lot there. It might secretly be my favorite, though, in a given listening and on a given day, I might focus on one or other of the movements most notably. So it's just another indication that I love all four movements and I think it's an incredible symphony. Having said that, if you remember a couple years ago, I reacted to his Seventh Symphony, and I think that's on the same level, even though it's rarely, if ever, talked about in that way. But I do think it's a foreshadowing for a lot of the energy and well-crafted melodies that we hear here in the Ninth. I will also say, and I meant to mention this in the previous movement, in my reaction to movement 2 of the symphony, Dvorak's writing for strings especially, but also for woodwinds, there's a richness, and sometimes, it's very forceful and energetic, but there's like a particular level of melodic intensity that he achieves in a lot of his string writing, where you can feel the emotional intensity, the desperation even. And I was thinking that during some of the Slavonic dance numbers, but I'm noticing it here in all three movements so far. There's just this quality of his string writing that really conveys emotion very well. And in the second movement, I was hearing some of that rich emotional intensity in the woodwind writing too. So yes, once more, I will just re-indicate my passion for Dvorak's music and my desire to spread that passion to others. One more movement to go, as I mentioned, in a different reaction in this final batch of the Classical Days finale. I've been watching the final movie of Nota Me Cantabile between the videos, and I'm getting close to finishing it, so it's just going to finish perfectly. I'm going to finish the watch-along of my earlier watch-along while I'm going through these classical reactions. So, yes, to me, I enjoy the composers, I enjoy the history of these pieces, I enjoy the melodic nuances, and in this particular venue, I enjoy experiencing these pieces with you all and hearing what you have to say. So let me know what you have to say about this third movement. I will now go to prepare for the final movement of the symphony, and I'll see you in a moment for it. Peace.